Alright, we're going in.
All right. I want to give all praises to
Yahawah,
Bahashem, Yahawashah, Bahashem, Rikar HaKadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders over at Great Millstone for continuing to feed the sheep, and for the brothers out there in the highways and byways coming in and week out. To you, I say shalom. We're the 12 tribes of Israel. We're here for the Negroes, the Latinos, and the Native Americans, and we're here to prophesize the downfall of this evil, sinful, wicked kingdom known as Babylon the Great, and we're here to seal the elect. Okay. You got any topics you want to talk for?
When now y'all see what's going on in the news, right? What's the day? The 12th.
Today,
October the 12th,
yeah.
Saturday, 2019, right? Now you see what's going on in the news. You see the blackouts that's happening in California. Now you got to keep in mind that that's not the first time that they had a blackout. That's just the biggest one in history today. Okay, that's the biggest one in today's time, so to speak. But you got what is it? PGS.
It's PG&E.
Yeah, PG&E.
Power company.
Yeah, Pacific Gas and Electric.
Okay.
Now, PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. You know who own that, right? The Rothschilds.
Yeah.
Okay. The Rothschilds own Pacific Gas and Electric over there in California. Now, they say that the reason why the fire started is because it was a so-called campfire, which you got like the transmission line towers. Okay, one of the transmission line towers malfunction. Okay, well that goes into infrastructure too, because according to what I looked up, they built them towers in 1919. Okay, so that's when they built them towers, the year 1919. So the infrastructure is falling apart. Now, if you don't know what a transmission tower is, it's them big towers. It's them big towers to where the lines come off of, and then you got the other feeder line like you see in the street. Them other feeder lines come off of those. So you have to Google image it if you don't know what it looked like. It's called a transmission tower, transmission line tower. Now that's what malfunctioned in California 1 year. In other words, last year. But what they said was they wanted to cut it off. They wanted to cut it off to prevent any other fires. So in order for them to cut the power back on, because the power been off since Wednesday, today Saturday, okay? 2019, the 12th on Saturday. It's been off since Wednesday. But in order to cut that power back on over there in California, they have to go through every feeder line that's going out through the city and check it before they even cut it back on. So that's going to take time to cut on, you see? But in the meantime, people are losing food because of electricity. You can't get gas because the pumps are not running in order for you to get gas. Some people can't even get in their garages at their house, okay? Because of the garage is ran by the electricity, okay? And you got people using generators. You got people using generators, and you're subject to cause a fire using them generators too, because the ones you haven't used, they've been sitting up, so they subject to cause a fire too. But you got traffic lights that's down. People don't know how to stop without being guided, stop and go without being guided by a traffic light. So you're having a lot of car wrecks too, okay? People just can't think without things set up the way it's set up. But like I said, you got businesses, refrigerated food is going to waste. I was watching one video in Nevada City, to where it's a lot of tourists there over there in California, and the gas station was saying they usually get from $10,000 to $6,000 a day. They make that, but since you can't use your credit card or your debit card, they only made like $300 a day. So that's a hell of a loss, man. But that just goes to show you how many people use their debit and credit cards, because they had to pay with cash, so they made like $300. You know, they generally make from $10,000 to $6,000 a day. They dropped all the way down to $300, man, because people had to use cash to get their goods, man. You know, and that was in the tourist area. That's a hit, man. So you can imagine what's going on with the people that got their own houses and live around there, you know, in certain areas in California. It's in the northern part. It's in the northern part of California, to where them blackouts is happening. Then you got curfew, so that's a soft form of martial law, because you got different levels of martial law. Okay, that's a soft form of martial law. What that is when you introduce curfew, but you got to keep in mind that Pacific Gas and Electric that's owned by the Rothschilds. And what it is anytime things go down like that, they always study what the people are texting, how they're responding to the news outlets when news report stuff, you know, on the web, how they respond, how they comment on the web. They always studying and gathering information on how the people react to their power grid going down. And then another thing too, while they studying, that they see how much the people depend on the grid, why it being up, man. You know, they know these people are not, the masses of the people are not off the grid. So they look at that reaction too. You know, I'm sure people breaking in homes and I'm sure it loot. You know, I'm sure it is, but that's what goes on when the power is down, and that's just part of a test run, man. But eventually, those things are gonna happen throughout all the 50 states, man. It's gonna be blackouts, man, because just like the Most High plagued Egypt with darkness for 3 days, it's coming to modern day Egypt, okay, which is America, man. So it's coming, man. You know, but they were just signs to get prepared and pray to YAHAWASHI, man, because those are signs of the time, you know, them blackouts. But also, you had a shooting, guy, I don't know where it was. I seen it on the news. I ain't, you know what I'm saying, I ain't look up and see where it was, but I heard it on the news and seen it on the news that a police officer shot another Jake that was naked. Okay, he was butt naked, and the police officer, Slave Patrol, told him to stop, and he kept coming at the Slave Patrol, and he got shot. Now, little do you people know that the police officers, aka Slave Patrol, according to their Constitution, according to the Supreme Court Constitution, the police officers have no duty or right to protect you. Okay, you can Google that all day long. Okay, they have no duty, a constitutional duty to protect you, man. The Supreme Court ruled in that. They can't protect you. I don't care if they see harm coming to you and you looking at them like they're supposed to step in. They have no legal constitutional right to protect you, man. So while you people calling on the Slave Patrol, hey, they ain't got no constitutional right to protect you, man. Only time they can protect you is when you in their custody, meaning you locked up in prison or something like that. And they don't even do that, okay? But they just feed the masses of the people they set up to protect and serve, which they not, okay? Like I said, you can Google Supreme Court rule that the police officers have no constitution to protect you, man. Okay, so that happened to them. Jake, what they doing is shoot Jake and getting Jake in that spirit to submit when everything go down, because you see that happen. Well, judgment from the Most High also, but it also put the spirit on Jake. So when full-scale martial law comes, they'll be quick to submit during that time, because before that full-scale martial law came, what was happening to Jake? They was getting shot because they ain't listening. So they're gonna be willing to listen, because if not, they're gonna get shot. So that's the thought process of it. That's what the elites is doing, pressing Jake. Okay? Then you got in the news, I know I'm long-winded, but I'm just telling you, it's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But now and then you got the Kurds, right? You got America wanting to leave. I mean, you got America pulled out of Syria, right? Because of the Kurds.
And left to the mercy of their enemy, Turkey. Today, American armor was moving away from the border between Rojava, the Kurdish-held part of Syria, and Turkey, just leaving 2 posts, according to the State Department, which contradicted the White House. As Turkey moved hardware towards the border over the weekend, President Trump spoke on the phone to President Erdogan and seemingly gave him carte blanche to cross, saying in a statement that Turkey will now be responsible for all ISIS fighters captured in the area. The Kurds are currently holding tens of thousands of ISIS prisoners, men and women, including British and other European jihadis. The Turks can only take responsibility for them, as Donald Trump wants, by occupying Rojava, where the prisoners are held. Since defeating ISIS, Kurdish forces have controlled part of Syria east of the Euphrates, backed by about 1,000 US troops. In August, a 3-mile buffer zone was agreed along the Turkish border to be jointly patrolled by Turkey and the US. But President Erdogan wants to go 20 miles inside the border and control major Kurdish towns, including Kobane and Kamishli, as well as camps of ISIS prisoners at Ain Issa and Al-Roj.
We were surprised and disappointed the American troops decided to withdraw now, the SDF spokesman said. We will put in place security measures to fight against any Turkish aggression. On the border, the Turkish buildup is underway. Turkey sees the Kurdish forces as terrorists. So long as American troops were physically close by, there was no chance of an operation against them. With the Americans gone, there is every chance it will now happen.
Akşamki görüşmemizden sonra
the Turkish president today confirmed he wanted to clear the area and create a safe zone to return refugees to. Complicating an already complicated situation is the fate of thousands of Islamic State fighters and their families held by the Kurds in prisons and camps across northern Syria. With a need to defend their borders, it's likely troops securing those sites and other troops fighting against resurgent sleeper cells will be reduced, increasing the risk of an ISIS comeback.
For the Kurds, it's almost as though they've been a victim of their own success. They've been very effective in defeating Islamic State, and now that's been accomplished, the US sees them as no longer of any value, so they can abandon them.
In the battle against Islamic State, US and Kurdish forces fought above and alongside each other. The president's decision against military advice has triggered unease in Washington, sending him to Twitter, this time to level threats at Turkey. If Turkey does anything that I, in my great and unmatched wisdom, consider to be off limits, I will totally destroy and obliterate the economy. Those Kurds protesting across northern Syria are likely questioning that unmatched wisdom, whilst remembering the proverb born of earlier betrayals. The Kurds have no friends but the mountains.
Now, when you go into the history of the Kurds, which is so funny, when you go into the history of the Kurds are nomads, meaning they wanderers. They ain't got no particular country or state to where they call their own. Now, that happened after the Ottoman Turk Empire fell, and the Ottoman Turk consisted of Ishmael, so-called Arab, and you had Edomites that converted to Islam. Okay, that consisted of the Ottoman Turk Empire. Okay, but the fall of the Ottoman Turk Empire, that produced the Kurds. Now, you got the Kurds in northern part of Syria, you got them by Turkey, and you got, let me look on this map to make sure. You got the Kurds, right? You got the Kurds in, I'm just looking on this map. You got Syria right here, okay? You got Syria, they in the northern parts of Syria. And then you got Turkey right there. You got Iraq right there. And you got Iran right there. So the Kurds are in that area, in the northern parts of Syria. But what it is on the America was aiding, assisting the Kurds against ISIS, which that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? America ain't fighting no ISIS. They created ISIS with Mossad and the CIA and the British intelligence. So they created ISIS, and ISIS is an offspring of Al Qaeda. Okay, so what they do, they funded ISIS, gave them military weaponry, and they sent them in to basically be attack the Kurds. But United States is allies with the Kurds. So what it is United States is able to give the Kurds weapons because what? You got ISIS coming. So United States is playing both sides. But you got to look at the land mass where the Kurds at. They're in northern parts of Syria. Now, the Syrians don't like them. The Turks don't like them, meaning the Kurds. And Iraq, and people in Iraq don't like them. And the people in Iran don't like them, okay? The Kurds. But you got America playing both sides. So Turkey wanted to come down and get the Kurds when America playing both sides of ISIS and the Kurds. So America is giving them military might, which you got to remember, the Kurds is terrorists to Turkey. So America is helping the Kurds, okay? So when Turkey's coming down, then America said, oh, it's time to go. Okay, so they get up out of there. Now you got to remember, going back into the history with the Kurds, United States, when they was warring with Iraq, United States promised the Kurds part of the land of Iraq, and they promised the part of the land of Syria. Okay, now going back to Iraq, when they said, look, if you help us overthrow Saddam, then we're gonna give you part of Iraq. And that was during the time of Bush era, and during I want to say with Bill Clinton during that time, because you got to remember the United States forsook the Kurds 8 times. That's not the first time that they forsook the Kurds. They forsook the Kurds 8 times. You can Google that. How many times did United States forsake the Kurds? They done it 8 times. Okay, but they done it 8 times. But they promised the Kurds land. But United States, what they do is they'll play both sides, set them up to fight and cause skirmishes and conflicts, and then they'll leave out. So what Turkey did was came down, the United States was like, look, we're gonna put sanctions on you if you go against the Kurds. Why? Because United States was helping the Kurds, and United States was in a strategic land position on the northern parts of Syria, right by Turkey, right by Iraq, okay, and right by Iran, okay. Now you got to remember this too. The Kurds, and I'm trying to get all of it out the best of my ability. The Kurds, they are considered like the pagans of the Middle East. In other words, they got a false way of the way they worship in the Middle East. Okay, they got a false way, and what it is the Kurds allow women to be equal with men. Okay, and Turkey and Iraq and Iran and Syria, they don't agree with that. Okay, so they got women. The Kurds got women in their military. Now, mind you, the Kurds got oil, they got gold, and they got water. Okay, but they got women in their military, and to Turkey, they known as terrorists. Okay, now you got to remember, Donald Trump said, look, if you go against the Kurds, we're gonna put sanctions on you. Now, sanctions don't affect the government. Sanctions affect the people. Okay, that's in that country. Okay, so that's what sanctions do. Sanctions affect the people that's in that country. So what Donald Trump is saying, look, we're gonna put hell on your people. Okay, if y'all attack the Kurds. Now, Turkey then came down in there. Now, the Kurds, like they saying, like the news is saying, the Kurds is gonna lean towards Russia. Okay, but United States don't want the Kurds to lean towards Russia. But the Kurds look at it like, look, the only friend to us is the mountains. Because if they retreat, and Turkey go down up in there, they can hide, run up in the mountains, and they can be sniping you 100 yards away. Okay, but that's why they look at that as the only friend they got is the mountain. But when it's all said and done, America forsook the Kurds 8 times, and they used the Kurds as cannon fodder. Okay, and they promised the Kurds to where they gonna get a particular state, and it be known on a national level, and they ain't been doing that. So United States get in there, use the Kurds, and get out and say, oh, it's not our problem. You see, that's the way the United States do it. You cannot trust United States when it comes to them holding their treaties, because they always turn their back on you. You see, so that's what's going on in the news, man. So when y'all see the Kurds in the United States, and United States aiding and assisting the Kurds, what it is the Kurds are just cannon fodder, man. And United States used them to get in position. That's why when Turkey was coming down, that's why they wanted to get up out of there. Now, according to NATO treaty, Article 5, when you Google Article 5 in NATO treaty, anytime a NATO country goes to war, NATO members supposed to come and aid and assist. Why Donald Trump get up out of there? And then aid and assist Turkey against the Kurds and ISIS. You see? Because they playing both sides. They helping ISIS and they helping the Kurds, man. With both of them are terrorists, man. So they can have strategic position in the Middle East. And like I told y'all before on other videos, all America do is throw rocks, meaning there's a conflict over there, throw rocks over there, there's a conflict over there, throw rocks over there, there's a conflict over there, and they got a lot of skirmishing going on, a lot of conflict going on, and America get away like, it ain't us.
They sowing discord.
That's the way they doing. That's what they doing. You see? And everybody in the Middle East look at them like, man, look at these. Look at them, man. They ain't got no solution. That's why we gonna knock them. That's why we gonna bomb them, man. That's why we tired of these so-called Americans, man.
American people are so stupid. They can't.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on.
They don't know what's going on,
They live in their American dream.
Yeah, they in that illusion, man. So, you know, that's what's going on in the news. But I know I went a little long without bringing out scriptures, but sorry about it. But I just wanted to get that information out. But whatever you brothers got, that's what's going on in the news, man. So, hey, people just need to know and need to be informed. And I feel like I should tell you because I know a little bit about it. And you got the, when you hear about the YPGs, hold on, let me make sure. The YPGs, those are, that's the Kurds military, and I forget the name of it, what it means, but I'm gonna look it up real quick. It ain't gonna take me long. And Google YPGs, Kurds. YPGs, Kurds. Yeah, it's called the meaning of the YPG Kurds is the People Protection Unit, okay, or People Defense Unit is a mainly Kurdish group in Syria, and in the primary, yeah, that's what it is. It's a let me see, just to so y'all would know, the People Protection Unit or the Defense Unit. So when you hear people talk about the YPGs, that's the Kurds military, man. What they have formed, man. And United States have gave them military weapons, man. And like I said, when you deal with Article 5 dealing with NATO, because Turkey is part of NATO, America's supposed to aid and assist another NATO member, and America said, look, we ain't helping y'all. We're gonna put sanctions on y'all. So y'all know America got their hand in causing confusion in that area over there, man. You see? That's what it is, man. So, well, we're gonna go into the lesson. I'm gonna let the brother have it. So you got it, brother.